I hope that you are all having a fabulous Wednesday. I know I am. I was just over on the Dead Aussie Gamers channel getting murdered by Spriggans and polar bears. As one does. It's just what one does when over on the Dead Aussie Gamers channel. So today, we are going to be finishing out our Spelljammer series that we've been doing since last week, introducing all of the new things about Spelljammer. A lot of it because we want to make sure that everybody in our community knows about Spelljammer, because I love it so much. Like, our whole campaign is based on aspects of Spelljammer, but also so that I can familiarize myself with the new things that are happening, so I understand. So I don't have people come onto the channel and suddenly say, well, that's not how that's supposed to be. Well, actually, and then have to go reread everything, since I'm a 3.5 guy. But before we start, I definitely want to say thank you to our fabulous sponsors. First, thank you to Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. You are absolutely fabulous. They're a fabulous mobile game where you get to play as champions of which realm? The Forgotten Realms. That's right. I love it. And with that code that you see on your screen right there, you can enter that into Champions of the Forgotten Realms and get a free Electrum chest, which will let you level up your fabulous characters that will then help you get further and further into the game and level them up even more. It's delightful. We love it. And here's Dead Aussie Gamer. Hello, welcome. Welcome. I love it. Hi, DM Dave. I got to meet DM Dave face to face for the first time last night, and can I just say that you and Careful Cantrip are an utter delight. Lando, can we throw a shout out to Careful Cantrip, because it is absolutely fabulous. And anybody here who has not already followed Dead Aussie Gamer, absolutely do. So much fun. So much fun. I'm really excited that you are all here today, because what we are going to be doing is going through Boo's Astral Bestiary. That's right. We are going to learn all about all the new monsters. I got hired to write like an apocalypse for a campaign, and I'm already using a couple of these monsters in it because they're so much fun. Oh my God. But let's continue real quick with sponsors. We did Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms. I want to say thank you so much to Hero Forge. Hero Forge allows you to create fabulous minis in 3D that absolutely level up your character art game if, like me, you cannot do better than a stick figure. I know, Dag, in your campaign, I talk about how I'm very good at drawing things in the air. I'm lying. I'm very bad at it. But Hero Forge lets me create fabulous characters anyway. So fabulous. I love it. Well, I'm glad that you got hijacked here, Belger. All of the fun stuff going on makes me very happy. So it's super exciting to have you all here and to thank our fabulous sponsors. If you want to learn more about any of our sponsors, head down to our About page and you can see what's going on over there. Very, very happy with that. We've got links to everybody, so there's all kinds of cool things that you can do down the About page. I personally want to give a shout out to all of our friends around the intranets doing all kinds of fabulous things before we get started. I'm super excited about all of the fun stuff that is happening all over the place. And oh my God, did we just get a Ko-fi thing? Do we not have our Ko-fi bar up? There's somebody, I'm not sure who it is, they did it anonymously. Somebody just donated $100. We've got a thing up there where we're trying to get me a new chest, a new desk and chair and bookshelf, and somebody just donated $100 to that. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. That's incredible. If you'd like to help out with that, please feel free to jump up into the Ko-fi and help make sure that I have a little bit of back support so that I'm not I'm not dying after a 6-hour-long stream session. But now, let us see what we shall see in the astral sea. Did you see what I did there? That's for Lando. I know the chat saw what I did there, but Lando.
Sorry, I'm adding the Kofi link because I forgot to do that. So a little distracted.
Let us jump in. So we're gonna skip. We did races yesterday, so we are gonna skip all the races in here. But let's start. What is this thing with the 2 A's? It's not an aardvark. It's an Artook. It is an Artook.
Artook.
And let's see. Ooh, they're gross looking. They're pretty. Yeah, that's like, it's like if an alien egg like turned itself over after the alien baby left and then went off on its own way. Like, that's not super in this. Artooks are intelligent plant. Oh, before we get started, if you have any questions today, if you have any comments, drop them in the chat. We will do our best to answer them. I've got a lot of experience in like 3.5 and stuff like that. So I also do like to sort of make comparisons between like what was here like 15 years ago and what's here now and how things are changing and all that fun stuff. So Artooks are intelligent plant creatures that live to wage war. Beholders destroyed their original homeworld and scattered the survivors across the material plane. These survivors formed small nomadic cells. Artook cells can be found throughout wild space, including aboard spelljamming ships, whose former crews were either murdered or forcibly ejected by a band of Artooks. An Artook's body is shaped like a 5-pointed star and is covered with thick, flexible bark. The tips of its branch-like extremities end in suction cups that allow the creature to climb on vertical surfaces and along ceilings. Each suction cup houses 3 retractable pseudopods that are used to manipulate small objects. The head of an Artook surmounts a 6-foot-tall stalk that can be extruded from the center of the star. The head contains the Artook's sensory organs, including a long tongue that the creature uses as a weapon. An Artook continues to grow throughout its long life. Arctic elders can be as large as 12 feet in diameter. So giant, murderous, angry starfish. Okay. This is definitely something from H.P. Lovecraft.
Did you see the new Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet? That was the first thing I thought of, was that giant starfish monster that they have to fight.
Starro? Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what it is.
I love that movie so much. That was so fun.
Oh my God. Guardian Devil, this absolutely is the new book. So Spelljammer actually came out as 3 separate books. It's 3 smaller books. So you've got essentially because what they did is it's a whole new way to play, because there's totally different mechanics in wild space than there are on the ground. So what they do is they gave you essentially a player's handbook, and then a monster manual, and then the adventures for it. So it comes, if you get like the actual Spelljammer thing, it comes as 3 smaller separate books that are each like 60 or 70 pages. So absolutely. Let's see what else we have. An Artook's preferred method of attack is to shoot forth its gooey tongue and use it to drag enemies towards the center of its body so that it can batter them with its powerful branches. It can also spit pellets of radiant energy. Gross. Artooks have no deities of their own, but certain groups have adopted various gods of war and vengeance, including Grumsh, Hextor, and Sargonus. All right. The Arctic language is made up of rustling sounds, snaps, pops, and hisses. It has no written form. Okay, let's take a look at some of these grossness. Like, oh God.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
All right, so we've got for an Arctic Elder, which are the biggest ones. Let's see which ones are the CR. So this is CR3. We've got CR2, and then we've got a little CR2. So let's start with the Warrior. So we're gonna look at the Warrior. So you've got your 15 natural armor, only 38 hit points. So okay, That's doable. Like with it's a CR2, so that's doable with like a second level crew. You don't want to get too many of these going after your second level peeps because it looks like they'll take them down pretty hard. Very slow speed though, and a slow climb speed. Okay, so that's good. It's got its dark vision. Its only language is Artuk, so that's fun. I feel like Thraikeen and Artuk would be like sister languages, since Thraikeen just speak with like clicks and things like that. It's got spider climb. All right, let's see what its multi-attack. It makes 2 branch attacks, 2 radiant pellet attacks, or 1 of each. Oh, okay. So it's got some versatility there. The first one, the branch attack, is just your basic bludgeoning damage. No worries there. About 9 average damage. And then, the radiant damage. It's got a range of 60 feet. So that's not great. And 3d4 plus 1. So when you're dealing with damage, I hate seeing d4s for damage because it just guarantees a higher damage level because you're rolling more dice. So even if you get all 1s, like the minimum damage that it can do is 4 damage. On that. So for a second level character, that could take you down pretty quick. And it would have, essentially 2 rounds to do it as you're running towards it. And let's see, the tongue, which is it's a rechargeable. Okay, cool. Recharge of 6. The Artuk tries to use its gooey tongue to snare 1 medium or smaller creature it can see within 30 feet of itself. The target must make a DC 11 dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target is grappled by the tongue and pulled up to 25 feet towards the Artuk. The tongue can grapple 1 creature at a time. So here's the fun thing that I would do with that. Because an Artuk biologically is made to do this, I would absolutely allow the Artuk to like shoot pellets at a grappled creature. Keep it at a distance. And just shoot
to just hold it out?
Yep. So it can only attack the tongue if it wants to. So it can't attack the body. You hold it out and just shoot it until it's dead. And then you drag it in and eat it. Like that's
one thing that's interesting is that the range of the tongue attack is 30 feet, but specifically they say you pull 25 feet towards the Artuk. Instead of just pulling all the way in, you're just like you have like one turn to like escape before it like beats the crap out of you with its branches.
Yeah, absolutely. There is let me see, we're going back in chat. So DM Dave, yes, Wild Space is sort of a new concept, but so what they did is they combined essentially the Astral Sea and the Phlogiston. So what it used to be in 3.5 is you had the Phlogiston, which was separate from the astral plane. So there was a Primaterial plane, which was made up of the Phlogiston and the crystal spheres and whatever was inside the crystal spheres. And then you had the astral plane, which was a completely different thing, right? It was on a different plane of existence. Now what they've got is essentially the astral sea. And I sort of like this because what it gives you is the sense of like the way that the astral plane, which is supposed to be the plane of like imagination and spirit, that it's sort of like the old Greek idea of ether, where it was like the universe is in fact filled with this substance called ether, and everything moves through the ether, and the ether affects everything that moves through it. So you've got Wild Space, which is like essentially the space that would have been within a crystal sphere in 3.5. And then when you hit the edges of Wild Space, that's where the astral sea begins to sort of creep in, right? And I like to think about it as like this is a solar system, and essentially like the solar winds are sort of keeping the astral sea at bay. And then so there's this, I imagine it would be sort of a stormy exterior in a sphere around the star, that then when you transition over into the astral sea, you are in fact on the astral plane, and things change. Like in Wild Space, there is no air, but in the astral sea, there is air, or maybe because time doesn't pass, you don't need air. or whatever's going on there. And gravity planes don't, like matter so much anymore in the astral sea. So they sort of combined the two, which would allow you to take a spelljamming ship directly to the astral sea, and go and find like color pools to then go to different places. So absolutely, yes. There is Guardian Devil. Thank you for stopping by. There's lovely to see you. Phlogiston, Phantom Phlogiston was highly volatile. It would, like, all fire spells, like if you tried to cast a fire spell, it would literally blow up in your face. It would just ignite everything around it. Absolutely, it is just a little crazy. It is sort of like an astral Dyson sphere. Like, I think, and maybe you could absolutely say, like, if we wanted to get into that aspect of it, it could totally be that, like, the energy from the sun actually, is the energy that the astral sea is absorbing, like from all of these different stars that are created throughout it, and that's what powers the astral sea. So if we want to go deep into what a Dyson sphere actually is supposed to do, which is absorb 100% of an actual star. 100% of the energy given by an actual star. So let's look. So we now know how the warriors act. They're a bunch of bastards. Let's see what's different about the priest class. So it's the same thing. I love that it's got a religion skill. Like it can absolutely give you a sermon about brunch. 100%. This is really important. One, it can definitely evangelize to other people. It's got its dark vision, its spider climb, the same multi attack, but this is terrible. It's got revivify. And it's got tongues, so it really can evangelize. I love that.
Tongues is you can speak it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so tongues like allows them to speak any language. But it can bring back dead Artooks. And Revivify, what does it do? It comes back with 1 hit point. So at the very least, that gives it either another like meat puppet in front of it that can take an attack, or that thing can then shoot some radiant energy, things like that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I definitely would pair, like, I would set it up so that there's a priest for every warrior that sort of stands behind it, shooting things, and then it revivifies it and pops its shield back up. And then we've got a couple of abilities. We've got the tongue, which looks like it's the same as the other one, yep. And then rally the troops. The Artook magically ends the charmed and frightened conditioned on itself and each creature of its choice that it can see within 30 feet.
Oh.
All right. Okay, so this thing makes sure that, like, those warriors just keep on going. It just wants to make sure this thing is happening.
One of the most.
And now we get to the Elder, which is a CR3. Yes, Landa?
Well, I was gonna say one of the most common things for the love of interest to do. So the not Dissonant Whispers, the one that's like less crazy than that. The one that's like it's like a second level spell. Why can't I think of it right now?
Basically,
no. There's one where it's like a blanket kind of thing, and it charms everybody.
Sleep or hypnotic pattern or
hypnotic pattern. That's the one. That's the one. That's super common at that kind of thing, and that's a really, really effective strategy just to come out the gate with. And if you don't hit the priest, they're like And
even one priest survives that, then everyone's fine. It's like, nope. All right, let's look at the Elder. All right, so it's definitely got like better armor class. It definitely has better hit points.
Yep.
And it's got the same speed, no worries there. They've got 18 strength, so that on a grapple, that's gonna mess with you a whole bunch. It's got dark vision, spider climb, It looks like the same multi-attack. I think. Oh no, it's got a better attack because of its strength. So
Yeah.
these things are definitely a little scarier. Ooh, and their radiant damage is hits a little heavier. So that's
Yeah.
fun. And let's see what kind of spellcasting it gets. So it gets, oh damn, calm emotions, detect magic, and sending. All right. So you could hop onto a ship, calm everyone's emotions, and then just like one at a time take out the crew. Like just be like, have the priest cast tongue, say one at a time, please. Come into this cabin, and there would be like 5 warriors that all just blast up. Like
we have cookies. We have cookies in the cabin. Just come on. We'll get it. We'll feed you.
I now want to know what their cookies would look like because they would be terrible.
They'd be so. There's like tufts of grass like sticking out of them.
Oh my god. Well, no, I think they eat people. I think they're carnivorous plants. You know, like if they've got an actual tongue, like my guess is that they go after actual. Like that's something that a predator would need to have. Like they've got like something that they can grab so that something that is moving away from them, they can stop it from moving away from them. There it is. Let's see. So hypothetically, I'm on the material plane, hop into a spaceship, and that will take me into wild space. And then there are portals, holes that will take me to the astral plane. So it's a little different than that. Actually, that's how it would work in 3.5. You would create a portal to the astral plane. In this, it is just you float directly into the astral sea. There's nothing between wild space and you. There's no need for a portal. So you just keep going on your spelljamming ship directly into the astral sea. So I feel like in our campaign, we still have crystal spheres because we started the campaign 1.5 years ago, and I was using old Spelljammer rules. But if the crystal sphere ever goes away, then essentially I like this because what you can do is you could definitely create like spaces where there's like an eddy of the astral sea, like inside wild space somewhere that sort of affects things around it. Or that there's like, you know, if there's a major explosion somewhere in like the astral sea, it could create like an astral tide that might like wash into sort of like a storm surge from a hurricane that would like wash into wild space, and things that are around it could be affected by it. So absolutely, I'm definitely here for this. I think that it's going to be super, super duper fun. Because if you've ever watched the channel, I'm one of those that I like subversive narratives and just absolutely stretching things to their limit. Over here, I'm like, rules is written. All right, so we now have Artooks as a colony. I definitely want. I now want an Artook temple, like somewhere out there, like on an asteroid, something like that, like or in an asteroid belt. I definitely want that now. That would make me very happy out in the astral sea,
like a colony.
Yeah,
like a angry plant colony.
Because they tend to be lawful evil. What that means to me is that essentially they would have very specific rules in the temple, and anyone that breaks any of the rules just gets eaten, you know? So you can absolutely go and worship at the temple and make friends with them. And as long as you do exactly what you're supposed to, it's totally fine, you know? But they probably also would have like a book that's 2,000 pages long that's all of the rules that you have to follow. All right, so we're going to skip astral elves and autonomes because we covered those in races yesterday.
Oh, we don't want to look at their stat blocks?
I'm not sure. There are a lot of things to go through.
Sure, no, that's fine. Maybe we can come back if we still have more stuff.
Yeah, so at the end, we can definitely do that. All right, so let's look at the Braxits.
Awesome.
A Braxit is a towering, warm-blooded carnivore with a thick, articulated shell covering its back, a squarish head topped with horny protrusions, and thick arms ending in large hands with opposable thumbs. The creature walks upright on two legs and speaks in a voice similar to that of a human. Braxix hunt alone or in pairs, prowling deserts, dry canyons, desolate wastelands, and lonely asteroids in search of prey. Braxix, that's there's a lot of sibilance in that
Yeah.
word. Like, Braxix hunt alone or in pairs, prowling oh nope, already read that. Where am I? Braxix also spew acid,
Yeah.
though they tend to do so only as a last resort, since the acid dissolves and ruins the flesh they crave. A Braxit projects an invisible psychic barrier around itself that enhances its natural armor, and it can amplify this magical energy to create shields of rippling force that deflect incoming attacks and absorb magic missile spells. Okay, all right. Let's look at this. What kind of? It's a challenge rating 9. That picture is crazy. Oh my god! It's a monster triceratops.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Look at him. He's so cute.
I want a Braxit now. I'm super excited about that. That is delightful. Oh my gosh. Blizzard, I do this. I stretch ideas because I'm a firm believer. So there's sort of what I've seen in the community is there's sort of like 3 types of gamers, and there's 3 buckets that a D&D player might fall into, and you can be in multiple buckets, right? You've got your gamers who are the ones that are rules is written, very crunchy. They want and their whole thing is to essentially find the very best combination, and every time new stuff comes out, there's new combinations to try, and they get their dopamine hit when they're doing something and the combination that they came up with works perfectly. That's the dopamine hit that the gamers will get. Then you've got the hobbyists who are there to just have fun with their friends. They want to play the game, they want to laugh, they want to have a delightful time, and it's much more about connection. And then you've got the artists who look at this very specifically as a semi-improvised storytelling art. And that's definitely the category that I fall into. I'm that, and I have a little bit in the hobbyist bucket, but I have nothing in the crunchy bucket. So I'm very much about what's the best way to tell this story. If there were no rules at all, and I appreciate the rules because it creates a fabulous structure that you can jump from to create really cool stories. But in my mind, it's always, okay, if we just removed the rules and someone did this, what is the better story? Is the better story the one where everyone is a hero and beats up this monster? Or is the better story that the monster almost gets the best of you? And then you suddenly come back at the last minute, or you lose a friend, or you have to go on a mission to bring someone back because they died, all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely in that category. So I love my stretching of all of the delightfulness. I love it. Yeah, no, it's absolutely people that come on my stream, we absolutely move everyone towards the artist lane. That's the direction we are heading. And DJ has a fabulous monster idea, which I love. Let me know in the chat what that is, what you're doing. All right, so now let's look at some Braxit. So they've got an AC of 18, Intellect Fortress. Ooh, we've got some psionic stuff popping up here. 162 hit points, that's crazy. Ooh, and a speed of 40. Yeah, these things, they do their thing. All right. Not great dex, that makes sense, but huge strength and constitution. Okay, and fairly intelligent. I love it. They're immune to psychic damage and to acid damage.
Dang.
They're not resistant, they're just straight up immune.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. They are also immune to being charmed or frightened. So these things definitely Like, if I feel like if you put this up against like a black dragon, that would be a pretty even fight. You know, like,
Yeah, they just have to duke it out just with
yeah. There is
fists.
Intellect Fortress. I loved this. The Braxton's AC includes its intelligence modifier. We are
Oh,
I'm giving this. I might give this to our. We've got a homebrew race called Elan, which are hyper psionic beings that like can alter chance and things like that by using their magical abilities, their psychic abilities. So that might be a fun thing to give to them. I'm gonna steal that from you, Watsy. You being robbed. I'm gonna rob you. And now we've got some multi attacks. So you can make 2 Great Club attacks, plus 12, reach of 10. Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
And average of 21 on a hit. Oof. Oof.
That's
Acid Breath, 15-foot cone, 18 Constitution save, 4d12 acid damage. Okay. And then spell casting on top of it. Shut up. It's got compulsion and fear. Oh my god.
yikes.
Oh, that's crazy. That is crazy.
What does compulsion do again?
It is, I think it might be a new spell. There's on a failed save, a target is affected by the spell. Until the spell ends, you can use a bonus action on each of your turns to designate a direction that is horizontal to you that it has to run. Oh my god. Oh wow.
Dang, that's a 4th level spell.
A target isn't compelled to move into obviously deadly hazards such as a fire or a pit, but it will provoke opportunity attacks. So you just
Dang.
so they just literally I love this. So this is a giant triceratops. It's a triceratops giant that plays whack-a-mole with its food.
Like, run away! Bonk! Smack him.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Because this is a thing that I've been wanting to do for so long. It pisses me off that like fear you don't get attacks of opportunity, because in 3.5 that was the whole point of it. Like you'd get into the fear aura, you'd like run up, try to punch the dragon, get the fear aura, run away and just get smacked by the dragon. It made them so much more powerful.
Yeah.
So this is awesome. Oh my god. And what is this psionic shield? When the Braxton would be hit by an attack roll or a magic missile spell that originates from a source the Braxton can see, the Braxton can create an invisible barrier of magical force around itself that lasts until the start of its next turn. The barrier gives it a plus 5 bonus to AC, including against the triggering attack, and prevents the magic missile spells from damaging it. So it just gets the shield spell 3 times a day. It's just like,
that's great.
so that's a 23. That's a 23 AC for like at least the first 3 rounds of combat. That's 23 AC. Like, I'm gonna kill my team with a Braxton.
That's significant.
That's delightful. I'm so excited about that. Oh wow.
That's pretty sweet. I like that one.
Don't forget the chaos monster that just wants to watch the astral plane burn. Absolutely. There's definitely fabulous things going on there. Like, makes me so happy. I'm really into this creature. I think this is really well designed, mainly because I like creatures that are fun. Like this would be fun to play, right? So I'm just, yes, thank you for creating a giant dinosaur monster that is psychic and speaks giant. All right, let's look at Boogrogs. Boogrogs are broad-shouldered, 4-armed giants, 15 feet tall with burnt orange skin. They have flat noses, pointed ears, and long hair that grows down the back and sides of their otherwise bald heads. They wear simple garb and like to hurl heavy rocks, as a giant does. It's just what one does when one is a giant. A Burag can wield a weapon with each of its 4 arms. Ooh. But it prefers to
Take-
pound enemies with
Take
its
care, DM
fists.
Dave. Bye.
Have a fabulous day. I will see you over on Careful Cantrip. Yay. Now, let us see. They like to pound enemies with its fists and rip smaller creatures apart with its bare hands. Seems nice. Barags communicate with one another using grunts and basic hand signals. They have no spoken or written language. They prefer to be left alone and for that reason don't normally pose a threat to smaller creatures. Because of their size and strength, they are popular attractions in gladiatorial arenas where they are coerced into fighting for food. Barags are accustomed to eking out a meager existence in their natural habitat, and they rarely bond with other kinds of creatures. A Barag that benefits from a stranger's act of kindness is at first puzzled by their effort, then wary. If this kindness is sufficient to earn the creature's trust, the Barag will try to repay the stranger, perhaps by carrying their gear or helping them navigate perilous terrain. A solitary Barag that is befriended by a group of adventurers might follow them around for a while, but it will soon tire of their company and once again seek out others of its own kind. All right, yeah, absolutely.
And
I'm
then
here
we did
for this.
Titus. I believe that's what you asked to be called, DJ. Titus had the information on the monster that they came up with.
Oh, yes.
So
Absolutely. They scare them, then drag their prey away. Yes. I love those. I love those. They just, everybody else is running away, and they grab the last one and just whoop. Makes me very happy. Doing terrible things to my players, it's true. All right, let's see. So this one is a CR6, 92 hit points, 14 natural armor. Ooh, it's got a good speed for a giant, so it's got 40 feet. Very, very strong. Lots of constitution. Barely over animal intelligence. It's got an intelligence of 5. So these things are not smart, but they're very good at athletics and survival. It makes 4 fist attacks, or it can do 2 long range attacks in a round.
wow.
Oh wow! And that's on average. If they're doing at range, it's 46 damage in a round. That is intense. Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
All right, but thankfully they're not smart enough to have like pack tactics and things like that, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. All right, let's see. Hideous Rend. The Burag uses all 4 of its hands to target one large or smaller creature it can see within 10 feet of itself. The target must succeed on a DC 16 dexterity saving throw or be grappled. Until this grapple ends, the Burag can't make fist attacks or rock attacks, and the target takes 8d10 plus 5 bludgeoning damage at the start of each of its turns. A creature reduced to 0 hit points by this damage is ripped into 4 pieces.
Oh shoot, we just got raided by Sensei Suplex.
Oh my god, hey Sensei! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Sensei is part of our fabulous stream team, the Rolling Together stream team. So welcome. What we are doing today is we are going through Spelljammer monsters. We spent the last week going through the, we did like the original monsters that they pulled out for that. Then we did like yesterday we did races and we did actual mechanics in the Spelljamming universe. And today we are going through Boo's Astral Menagerie. And we are celebrating the fact that we have friends that are helping me to get a new desk and chair and bookshelf so that I can actually have a dedicated streaming space. So very happy about that. Somebody donated $100 earlier. So that's super exciting. So if you want to help us out on our Ko-fi, please feel free to do that. Landa will throw the link up for there. Authority, is any of it good? So yes, there are some really cool things. There are some things in the races part that are not super great. Check out our VOD from yesterday as we have a discussion about the Hinosi. But today, my first favorite, I love that. So they are doing a good job. The first ones we've got like essentially the Temple of the Evil Starfish, which I think, you know, is I feel like their flag would definitely be like the flag from Community. There's the makes me very happy there. But they also have giant Triceratops giants that just play whack-a-mole with their food,
Right.
which makes me very happy. And then the one that we were just that we're discussing right now, the Barag, literally will grab you with 4 of its arms and rip you into 4 pieces. So that's gross.
Solid.
So I feel like also like if you're a carnivore, that that would be very wasteful because you're suddenly missing all the good parts like the organs and stuff. Um, yes, the evil starfish. Yes, it is. It's the temple of the buttholes, 100%. Absolutely.
They are really mean.
Yeah, so Balrogs, they're not very smart, but they can be coaxed into, if you are kind to them, they can be coaxed into helping you for a bit, but they'll get bored with you because they're not very intelligent and they will wander away. And now let us look at
Real quick,
yes.
Titus did have the information on the monster, and here, it's a little bit higher in chat. Let me just copy it and just put it down and we can take a look at it. So.
Oh, fun. All right. Let's see. About shadows that are alive and look like humans. When one finds you, they will scurry across the floor and kind of connect to your shadow. Then they mess with you by making fake footsteps and whispering your ear. That makes the character scared and then drag the character away into the shadows, turning into one of them. So that actually already exists. I don't know if they've got them in 5e, but that's shadows from 3.5. That's literally what they do. They screw with you. Terrifying. They make you scared. They're flat. They're 2-dimensional creatures. They can literally drag you to your they drag you to your death, and then if they kill you, then you actually become a shadow as well.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've
got they've got lesser shadows and greater shadows, and there's just they are terrifying. They are terrifying monsters. They're great for horror settings because they can literally just slide under a door or just disappear. It's just they literally have to turn their side to you and suddenly you can't see them anymore. They're really cool monsters. All right, we've got Chwingas. Chwingas are tiny elemental spirits that adapt easily to any habitable environment. These gentle creatures protect nature, considering themselves as its humble custodians. Chwingas live inside plants, rocks, and springs, far from civilization. Chwingas resemble 6-inch tall animated dolls with mask-like faces, spindly limbs, and wild hair. So they're troll dolls, essentially, is what they're. Yeah. They don't have names and can't speak. Chwingas normally avoid other creatures, but they find the trappings of civilization fascinating. They puzzle over creatures that wear armor, carry weapons, use tools, and cook food. When a Chwinga encounters one or more of such creatures, its curiosity compels it to shadow them for a short time and observe them. If it takes a liking to a particular creature, a Chwinga uses its cantrips to aid that creature, or bestows upon it a magical gift before departing. The features that attract a Chwinga to a particular creature vary. A Chwinga might like the way a certain creature walks, or the way it combs its hair, or be smitten by its ability to play music or eat copious amounts of food. Chwinga astronauts. I love this. Chwingas that live in wild space usually dwell on habitable moons and asteroids, though they occasionally stow away on spelljamming ships to ride around on space guppies. Ooh, fun. Using its magical gift ability, a Chwinga astronaut can bestow one of the following charms in place of those described in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Charm of Air Bubbles. The charm allows you to cast the Air Bubble spell, which is fabulous. We saw that yesterday. It's a new spell that allows you to create an air bubble for wild space, and it lasts for 24 hours. So that's great. Once used 3 times, the charm goes away. Cool. Charm of Instant Tools. The charm allows you to magically conjure a set of artisan's tools, navigator's tools, or thieves' tools. The conjured tools appear either in your hand or somewhere else in the space. Once used, the charm goes away, but the tools remain. I love it. So whatever you need, the Chwinga has got it.
Yeah.
Let's look at this little stat block for Chwinga. It's all a little guppy. It's all a little space guppy.
What?
I love it. Yeah, no, these definitely do sound like brownies. Yeah, 100%. There's you've got, all right, so AC 15, 7 little armor, 7 little hit points, and slower speed. Oh wow, it's got no strength at all. It's got a 1 strength. I'm not sure I've ever seen that on a monster stat block before. Like that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's
20 dex. They're intelligent and wise and very charismatic. Oh, good for them. Love that.
nice.
They've got blind sight. Oh, they've got evasion. Very nice. That must come in very useful for it. And it's unusual, so it doesn't require air, food, or drink. When it dies, it turns into a tiny pile of moon dust, a cloud of glittering spores, a statuette resembling its former self, a chunk of ice or a sponge shaped like a dodecahedron. Oh my god. It turns into a spongy dice. Like magical gifts. A Chewinga targets a humanoid it can see within 5 feet of itself. The target gains a supernatural charm of the DM's choice. See the Dungeon Master's Guide for more information on supernatural charms. Natural shelter. The Chewinga takes shelter inside a rock, a bush, a tree, or a natural source of fresh water in its space. The Chewinga can't be targeted by any attack, spell, or other effect while in its magical protection. All right. And the shelter does not impair the Chewinga's blind sight, so it can always tell once you've left. Like it won't come out. It's fine. It just won't come out until you leave. If its shelter is destroyed, the Chewinga can use an action to emerge from the shelter. If the shelter is destroyed, the Chewinga is forced out and appears in the shelter space, but is otherwise unharmed. The Chewinga casts one of the following spells requiring no components. All right. So it can cast Druidcraft, cool. Guidance, so it can help you out figuring out how to deal with things. Pass without a trace, it can keep you safe in the forest. And Resistance, I feel like this is definitely something. Like, I sort of want to make this an option for like a very advanced familiar or animal companion or something, where you don't want something that is going to have any sort of combat thing, but it can help you, like, it's always there to help you, like, get through whatever task you're trying to get done, because it's super curious. I actually really like that.
Yeah, these are super cool.
Amazing.
You have to be a special kind of monster to try to attack these things, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it would take a special kind of bastard.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
god.
they give him like all these ways where they're like, oh, he's got evasion, all these other things, and you have to be really, really dead set in order to take one of these out. If you for some reason really want to.
So ridiculous.
But yeah, turning into a D20 is pretty much on the nose.
That's pretty fabulous. I love that. I mean, I would absolutely do it. Like, you can in fact go, if you find a Chewinga and you befriend it and it dies in your company, and you then have magical dice that you can use to like that's absolutely 100%. I love it. Do you want to take the next one?
Sure. Cosmic Horror. Cosmic Horror are colossal, malevolent entities that occasionally slip the bonds of the far realm and find themselves adrift on the astral plane. Drawn to the light of distant stars, these creatures evade wild space systems and lay waste to worlds. Or invade. After feeding on the minds and bodies of the world's inhabitants until it is sated, a cosmic horror usually returns to the void, where it falls into a deep sleep, drifting aimlessly until hunger or some other stimulus awakens it. Cosmic horror.
These things just hang out for a long while. So I'm totally here for this because it's very Lovecraftian, and I love me some cosmic horror. Things that they do not live on a timeline for humans. Like, whole civilizations might fall and rise and fall again.
Yeah.
And then it'll wake up for no particular reason, but everyone wants to think that there's a reason that it's coming that day. You know,
Right.
it's like, nope, it just, this is when it woke up from its nap, and now
It
it's
just
time to
happened.
kill everyone.
You know, it got hit by a little pebble that was
Yeah.
flying through space and just bonked it.
There's,
And that was
it's
all it
just,
took.
yeah, somebody, I mean, there's that, or just, this is the thing about cosmic horror, is it's supposed to be existential threatening. It's always an existential threat.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even need a pebble. It literally just, because this is when it woke up.
Yeah.
That's the thing that makes it so, that's the thing that makes H.P. Lovecraft stories so horrifying, is that there's no reason, there's nothing that you did and nothing that you can do to stop these things.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
They just are.
And and they don't care about you. They do not think about you. You are literally less than nothing to them.
Yeah.
And they will come and destroy the world if that's what they want to do, or they might not. And they might kill you, or they might kill the person standing next to you, and you don't, for no reason. Like, it's not that you were wearing something, like they don't like the color red that day, and the person standing next to you was wearing red. Absolutely. Just doesn't matter. But that's the thing. There's no reason why it might wake up or might not wake up. It'll wake up when it wakes up.
It just is.
And that might kill your world. And you have and that way, like, you can't do anything about it. Like, you couldn't create like a shield around it to ensure that nothing disturbs it, because it'll wake up anyway, and then it'll break the shield, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, there's just, that's what makes cosmic horror so terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's, hi, Baba Yaga. Oh my, how about a spell that turns players into character sheets? I've definitely watched some streams where I've seen that spell happen, where there's literally like, there's no actual role playing. It's just what's on my sheet. They're literally just reading from like the various books about the abilities that they're doing. I have seen that spell in action, my friend.
Yeah, it basically is a Reaper.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's just gonna eat you. Right, it's got 280 hit points, it's got 15 armor class, so you can hit it, but it's gonna take a lot to take it down. 100-foot flying speed. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's rough. All right. Ooh, it's got intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws, so it's gonna be real difficult to charm it or polymorph it, like, all that kind of stuff. That's just plane shift it. Nope, banish it. Nope. With that charisma plus 13 to its saving throw, like, trying to get rid of it is going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
And this is something that, like, because it's got an intelligence and a charisma both of 24. What is this thing? It's an 18. I would absolutely give this class levels. Like, I would absolutely give it things like charm and stuff like that, so that it can just look at you and get you to just stand there long enough for it to position itself perfectly and just consume you. Like, just done. You'll just stand there and do nothing, and there won't be anything you can do about it.
Yeah.
All right, damage immunities, acid and poison. All right, so no acid, no poison. It can't be charmed, frightened, or poisoned. It's got dark vision to 240 feet. Okay, and telepathy to 240 feet. Good God. 3 legendary resistances. It does not require air. Let's see what its multi-attack does. It does 1 bite and 2 tentacle attacks. Oh, wow. So it's bite, 10-foot reach, plus 14, bunch of damage. Tentacle, let's see, 30 foot. Oh, that's no good.
Ugh.
And 3d6 plus 8 damage. It's force damage too. Oh, wow.
Mm,
And if the target is a creature, it's grappled. Until this grapple ends, the horror can't use this tentacle against other targets. The horror has 1d8 plus 1 tentacles. Oh my god.
nice.
So it can have 9 creatures grappled at once. Just, this is gross. Psychic whispers recharge on 5 or 6. The horror emits dreadful whispers in a 60-foot radius sphere centered on itself. Each creature in the sphere that isn't an aberration must make a DC 21 wisdom saving throw, taking 33 psychic damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Oh, a 60-foot radius sphere. That's a 120-foot spread.
Drop a bomb.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. And it's always centered on itself. So it just, if you get close to it. So, oh, damn. So you grab like 6 people in your tentacles and then you just start whispering to all of them. And
Shit,
yeah, they just beg for death. Just begging for death. Oh my god. All right. Let's see legendary actions. So, crushing tentacle. The horror crushes 1 creature in its grapple. Okay. 22 DC Constitution saving throw or take 18 force damage. Oh, poison jet. It can spit poison at people. Foul gas squirts from the horror in a 30-foot line that is 5 foot wide. Each creature must succeed on a DC 21 Constitution saving throw or take 14 poison damage. That's not bad. Honestly, that's not bad.
If they would have added and you become poisoned.
And is poisoned.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah.
And teleport. The horror teleports along with any creatures that are grappled to an unoccupied space 120 feet away. Oh my gosh. This thing really is terrifying.
And it can fly.
And so one of the things that I would do is I definitely would give it flyby attack too. So it can literally just fly over your party and just grapple you a couple people at a time and like whip up into the air and just do circles until you're all grabbed. And then it's just psychic whispers. And I mean, this thing seems like something that would want to play with its food. So just, I would like, once everyone in the party is grappled, then you just fly up into the air and like sort of psychic whisper them and then toss them into the air and then see which ones you can catch before they fall. You know, it's just...
If you give this thing flyby, there's like hardly, like, there's almost no shot.
Yeah,
like,
no, this thing. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is distressing.
Devastating.
That is not okay. This is not okay. I blame you, Lando. Let me see. All right, what's going on in chat over here? I've been called a cosmic... Oh, no, that's different. That's true about it. It is different. That's different. It is. It's a horror. Okay, there's extra R's in there. Horror. Make it a bard. Oh my god. This thing with like silvery barbs and dissonant whispers. Oh my god, yes. All the fun stuff. A space to rest. Yeah, pretty much is.
Yeah, I don't want to go into space anymore. I'm good, actually.
Yeah, I feel like I have ruined the Astral Sea for Lando. Just looking through these things.
In our campaign, I'm gonna leave as soon as I can.
Yeah. Like, there's cosmic whispers to the dance floor. It's never gonna dance again the way it danced with you. Oh my god. Good job. Deep cut. Very nice, platypus. Oh my god. All right. Let's see if maybe there's something that's better than that coming up. Okay. Oh my god, it's penguins! It's Doar. What is this? Doars are short, pudgy, flightless avians that look and move like penguins. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Why is this not a race that you can play
as? It's penguins! Oh my god! They are inveterate merchants, always looking for an opportunity to turn a profit. Dwarves conduct their dealings in secrecy, preferring to do business in dark alleys and out of the way places, even when the items being bought or sold aren't illegal or dangerous. So they are totally like the shady people with like, oh my god, with like the trench coat, like they open it up and it's a bunch of watches.
Yeah, you want to buy some watches.
I feel like this would be like a bunch of like they would have like a bunch of packs of magic cards. Like this is where you go to get your magic cards and
You go to the dark alley.
Yeah, absolutely. They tend to dress in a garish mishmash of clothing, but many of them also shroud themselves in hooded cloaks. A group of Dwarves is called a cartel. Oh my! I love it. The average Dwarf stands 3 feet tall and has bright plumage. Instead of wings, it has arms and tiny hands. Dwarves prefer to communicate through a form of telepathy they call merging, in which 2 dwarves stay in mental contact while both are telepathically linked to a third creature. Dwarves have their own pantheon of deities made up entirely of gods of commerce and wealth. These deities include Joaquin, Abathor, and Zilchis, so they absolutely would come to merchantry. Like, they
100%.
absolutely... Like, we're going to have to definitely create, like, an underground, like, they're definitely part of, like, the smuggling operations.
Oh, 100%. But why aren't they a playable race? How do you...
We'll fix that.
Yeah,
We'll fix that.
Please.
By focusing... If you want to play a Dowar, come on over to Play Nerd Allies. And if you like having fun with us, if you like our streams and stuff, come and check out our Discord. Do we have a Discord command? By focusing on the worship of such deities, the Dowars hope to become the best merchants in the multiverse without alienating or offending any god in particular. Oh my god, I love it. So they're absolutely... These Dowars are now your social media and marketing managers. Never offending anyone, selling things, like, always be selling. Like,
always be selling.
Absolutely, I love it. So they're Fae, so that's fun. They're small Fae. It looks like, so they've got deception, insight, and persuasion, great, as you need for a merchant. Telepathy out to 30 feet. Merging, 2 Dowars can have a telepathic conversation with each other and a third willing creature of their choice, provided all 3 are within 30 feet of each other. Cool. They do have a little bite. It doesn't do much damage. But they can detect thoughts.
Oh,
I love it. And that totally makes sense for me. Like, as a merchant, like, you absolutely, if somebody wants to trade you in, like, you know, hey, I've got this cool stuff. I feel like they can be like, where'd you get it? You know, and be like, okay, you have to let us detect your thoughts to see whether or not you're telling the truth. You know?
Well, it seems to me that they wouldn't really care about where you got it, more about whether or not you're lying of what it's worth.
Okay, so I would debate that. The reason that I would debate that is a good merchant knows that you cannot alienate your clientele and you do not want somebody coming after you for their stolen goods.
That's true. Okay, I hear that.
If you want to actually do business, and you can't be like, if you're really good at it, you might have associations with, like, a fence. Like, if it were me, I would set up associations with, like, known fences, and I could send people to those fences, but I wouldn't fence them myself, and then the fence would give me a kickback, and that way I'm not in trouble. Right. I don't like, and somebody who's angry, who's very powerful, can come and ask me where my stuff is, and I'd be like, I didn't buy it, so, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Bobby Yaga says all we use is Spelljammer that's all Dwar and no mods. And auto gnomes, yes. Can we just like have a new campaign where we're just penguins and auto gnomes and we fly around in ships and do trading and just like be just like merchants and we don't have to fight things. We just I've been thinking about this because my thing is, like, I love, like, the idle games where you get to, like, build businesses and stuff like that, and I love trading simulators. Like, I've actually been thinking about creating something like that. That would be so cool.
As a potential, I'm looking at, like, learning how to do, like, mobile games and doing something like that with with Delver's Dream, where the mine, because we have the market, like you can literally like set up different areas to go to, and like the sort of the extra currency and stuff like that would be down in the temple complex. Like you could pray to certain gods to get certain
Yeah.
benefits for the day, you know, things things like that. But then like because there's like 15 slots in the market, or we can make it whatever we want on the game, then each slot can lead to another world, and you get to choose from like 100 worlds that it can link to, and you have to figure out which worlds are going to give you the best deals on things and how to set your market up and set up contracts and all that kind of stuff, and do things where it's like, if you do cool things, we'll have like giveaways at the end of the month in like our Discord, where like whoever is the best actually gets to come and play a game or something like that, or gets dice, or some fabulous giveaway. Yes, Baba Yaga, you need to calm down. You need to calm the hell down, Baba Yaga. Are we going to be, I've got a meeting with Baba Yaga tomorrow to talk about video games in general. Are we going to be discussing building a mobile game? Is this the thing that's going to happen for us?
Right. But yeah, I think that'd be cool where, it's focused on like, building your armada of space merchants. And then like
Yeah.
combat is basically we have people that we've like outsourced the combat. So we just kind of like sit on the sidelines in like our lawn chairs and just watch the people we've hired fight the monsters that come in.
It's one of those things where it's like you would invest a bunch of money in spell jamming ships with weapons, and you could.
Oh yeah.
I would love it if you could absolutely like figuring out ways to just like upgrade your ships. Because so in 3.5 there was something called the Stronghold Builder's Guide, I think, or Stronghold Builder's Notebook or something like that, that actually had all of the stats and the cost and the time to create all the different things that you would need for a stronghold. So like certain walls, how to build them, how long it's going to take, how much you can do, what different kinds of workforces you can use, and like discussing them. Like if you get zombies to build everything, then they can work for 24 hours, but they can only make super crappy stuff. It's not gonna be super solid. Right. So if they're literally just like building a wall where you're just piling stuff on top of each other, that's fine. But you're still going to need an artisan to come by and like shave everything down,
right,
so that it's flat. There's but it gives you like all the different like rooms that you would have, and it gives you, there's a whole section on permanent magical effects in rooms. So like you can create a magic item that is like, like you would have a teleportation room where there's a permanent teleportation circle that will go different places, but also things like you can turn this room into a room of friendship, where every single person that enters the room is hit by a suggestion spell or a charm spell or something like that. And that would be used, or like in 3.5, they have like different ratings for like if somebody was friendly or aggressive or things like that. And what that room would do is it would move them towards friendlier options for you without actually charming them. Gotcha. So you could totally do things like that. And you put that in like the throne room, things like that, so that everybody that walks in, has like calm emotions cast on them, or something like that. But then they have really creative, interesting ways to create defenses that are like, you can, create a situation where within this 10-foot section of this wall, anyone standing here on these glyphs like has advantage on all ranged attacks. So your archers would stand there and fire from there. They would get advantage. And it could also empower all ranged attacks like electricity or fire, or turn the entire, like you press a button and instead of stone walls, suddenly like the walls burst into flames, or become ice, or become prismatic walls, things like that. And just really cool things. So we could actually, sorry, just spitballing here. We could actually create a whole fucking supplement that is how to do that with spelljamming ships, and how to do that with like normal strongholds.
That'd be cool, because I think one of the things we focus on like a lot of like events that happen, but in terms of like the economy of the game, we really have barely touched on it, just because we're always
Well,
so,
and part of that, I did that sort of on purpose because, like, while that can be a lot of fun for people playing the game, it's
yeah,
not super fun to
yeah,
watch.
100%, 100%.
So I specifically gave you all Corton so that you wouldn't have to wait for like houses to be built and stuff like that. That you could just say, "I want this thing," and then
Yeah,
Corton could say yes or no, whether he's
right.
going to do it.
No,
But then
100%.
you'd have it. And that there's a whole huge market that you get a cut of. So you essentially have sort of not infinite money, but you've got enough money to get the things that you want.
Yeah.
You know? So, but I think that actually, Lando, we might need to have a meeting after the stream and talk about Play Nerd Allies making that supplement, because I think, honestly, I could probably whip that out in a week.
Yeah.
If we really concentrated on it. Ooh, maybe I'll send a shout out to some people and see. Ooh. Anybody that wants to work on that project, go hit up our Discord. I will set up a call to arms after the stream and see, because I actually now I think that would do insanely well on DM's Guild. I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be fabulous.
And we'll throw in the penguin race playable character race.
Oh my god, yes! Yes!
That seems important.
Oh my god. All right. Now that we've come up, because I don't have enough projects.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Like, it's fine. All right. Let's. I want to design a mobile game right now instead of going. No, we promised we were going to go through this. All right. You know what? We're at about an hour and a half. So why don't we take our break now before we get to the next monster?
Okay. All right.
Oh, I love it. Okay, stick around. We will be back. Please go hit our about section. We have a lot of fabulous sponsors. We've got links to all of them down there. Go grab something to drink. Go take a break, stretch, relax, do all the things. And we'll be back in 5-10 minutes and continue showing you fabulous Spelljammer monsters. Right. Hello again.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
Welcome back. For those of you who are in our Discord, I just put out the call for the writing. It's absolutely going to be doing a thing. We're going to be making this thing happen. Oh my god, the bottle of Boundless coffee. See, I don't drink coffee because it makes me jittery. But I would absolutely go for the bottle of Boundless tea. That would be absolutely delightful. So, since we've got a lot to go through, we're only on E at this point. So I'm gonna move things forward a little bit. We're gonna read the descriptions and then just sort of like the special things about it. Let's see. So, aesthetic. An aesthetic is a biological symbiotic creation of a Rhaegar. It is essentially an organic ship, with only the barest hint of awareness. Without its Rhaegar to guide it, an aesthetic becomes a nearly mindless entity with an instinct for self-preservation. Rhaegar use their aesthetics as spelljamming warships. When a hostile Rhaegar in its aesthetic encounters another spacefaring vessel, it uses a magical vibration to disable the ship's spelljamming helm. Rude.
What?
Very rude. The Rhaegar then commands the aesthetic to grapple members of the ship's crew and dissolve their flesh with its acid-secreting tentacles. Each aesthetic is unique in appearance. One might be bilaterally symmetrical, radially symmetrical, or have no definable shape. From a distance, an aesthetic is easily mistaken for a giant space-dwelling jellyfish or cephalopod. Its outer shell is made of bioluminescent resin. An aesthetic contains enough interior space to comfortably accommodate its Rhaegar host and up to 6 medium passengers. Access is gained through a hatch that the Rhaegar and no one else can open or close with a touch. An aesthetic can survive indefinitely on the astral plane, provided its creator is alive. If the aesthetic's creator dies, the aesthetic sickens over a period of 1d12 days and then expires. Oh my god. This thing is terrifying.
Yeah, that's
all right. So it's a gargantuan aberration, of course it is. Immune to acid and immune to like
everything.
Almost every condition. it's essentially blind past 300 feet. But all right, let's see. So it's got bioluminescence. Well, it has at least one hit point. The aesthetic sheds bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for another 30 feet. I love it. Spell jamming. The aesthetic has the properties of a spell jamming helm. Okay, and its creator can attune to it. It does not require air, food, or drink. It's got 2 tentacle attacks, which do some damage. And automatic acid damage every turn. Oh, wow. Yeah, gross. Jammer Scream. The aesthetic targets one spell jamming ship within 300 feet of itself, magically suppressing the properties of spells. Spelljammer Helm for 2d10 days. Oh my god. If the ship has more than one helm aboard it, randomly determine which helm is affected. A creature attuned to that helm can choose to make a DC 17 charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 42 psychic damage, and the helm is suppressed for 2d10 hours instead of 2d10 days. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage, and the helm is suppressed for 2d10 minutes. Damn, but it's still suppressed long enough for a whole combat to happen.
Oh, 100%.
So,
you're not running away.
Oh my god, that is unacceptable. It's a giant monster jellyfish that eats ships. That's not cute.
I hope that we get to see okay, yeah, those.
You think you're being cute.
The Rhaegar have a stat block and stuff, so we'll get to see about them later.
Yeah, this is not okay. Oh my god. Baba Yaga, you and I would not like the same kind of tea, because I like my tea to be black. Like, I want it. If I can see through the tea, like if I can see the bottom of the cup, that tea does not have enough caffeine in it for me. Oh my god. Okay, so that's terrifying. There's so many things in Spelljammer that are just, and now we're gonna kill you.
Yeah. But yeah, why do you think I wanted to do a campaign where we're just merchants and then someone else has to fight the thing?
Yeah. It's fine. We bribed a couple of Rhaegar to make sure nobody screws with us.
Right? There are escorts. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. That's how you make sure that on your spelljamming platform, nobody escapes if they steal from you. Like, it's just like, I would love it. Like, as soon as you enter the space, this thing goes after your spelljammer immediately. Oh my god, it would be a way to create a captive audience that like has to spend their money here, because these things would suppress it for hours or days. Like, say, we're gonna suppress it, and I would definitely allow it to do like the minimum. So it's like, as soon as you get here, your ship is suppressed for 2 days. Just 2 days you have to spend here in our beautiful, with a beautiful spa and resort.
Yes.
You're gonna have a great time. I think that would be delightful. And they're beautiful. I mean, they are beautiful, but
it's just it's aggressive marketing. That's just what it is.
I'm sorry. What is this thing that I'm looking at? This eye monger. That is.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my god, no. When its large eye mouth are closed, an eye monger looks like nothing more than a 12-foot diameter asteroid. When it senses vibrations in space around it, the eye monger opens its eye and reveals its true menacing nature. An eye monger has no use for treasure, but its belly might hold a fair amount of incidental valuables that it can't digest, including coins, metal weapons, gemstones, and magic items that belong to the creatures it swallowed. Although an eye monger doesn't project an anti-magic cone from its eye as a beholder does, magic is suppressed inside its gullet, which prevents a swallowed creature from using magic to escape. Okay, so it's got tremor sense.
Dang.
While the eye monger's eye is closed. Oh wow, okay. Anti-magic gullet. Magical effects, including those produced by spells and magic items, are excluded. But excluding those created by artifacts or deities are suppressed inside the eye monger's gullet. Any spell slot of charge expended by any spell slot or charge expended by a creature in the gullet can cast a spell or activate a property of a magical item is wasted. While an effect is suppressed, it doesn't function, but the time it spent suppressed counts against the duration. No spell or magical effect that originates outside the Eyemonger's gullet, except one created by an artifact or deity, can affect a creature or an object inside the gullet. That's actually terrifying.
Is that the same as the Tarrasque? Or really similar? Where they have like a thing where, yeah,
that you can't use magic to escape. You absolutely have to like literally rip its stomach apart.
Something like that.
So, if the Eyemonger is motionless and has its eye and mouth closed at the start of combat, it has advantage on initiative rolls, and it's a DC 18 investigation check to see whether or not it's actually an asteroid. It's got a bite, but you must succeed on a DC 18 dexterity saving throw or be swallowed. All right. Mind you, it's only medium or smaller, so larger creatures it can't swallow. It can only swallow one creature at a time, and the creature is considered blinded, restrained, and has total cover. But it takes 35 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. If the Eyemonger takes 25 damage or more in a single turn from a creature inside the gullet, the Eyemonger regurgitates the swallowed creature. But that's, if you're like a wizard, that's almost impossible.
Oh, you're fucked. Yeah, you have to be like martial or something.
Well, you have to have at least 2 attacks and some kind of crazy ass weapon to make that happen. Like, I feel
the weapon,
it'd be suppressed.
Does it not
all
work?
The magic abilities. It would be suppressed. But the weapon itself could still work, but it's still like, I think the only person that could escape one of these things really would be like a monk.
Or maybe a barbarian, depending. Or a fighter.
I mean, it really is going to depend on how much damage they can actually, like how high their strength is.
Like action surge, and there's ways.
Okay, action surge. So a fighter or a monk probably, but yeah, a wizard, done.
Nah, you're
just done. Like you have to kill this thing before it. Like there's, but okay, so this just looks like an asteroid. So absolutely, I feel like this would be one of those situations where you could create a whole asteroid belt that is these things and asteroid spiders.
Oh god.
So it's like the asteroid spiders like like tie things up, and then these things come around and like eat the remains, that have been tied up. And yeah, this is I'm gonna make this map. I'm gonna make this terrifying floating asteroid map.
And that's why, unless we're doing the fun campaign where we're penguins that make money, I will not be participating because I cry enough in my real life. I don't need to cry more in D&D. So.
Oh my god. Wow. Imperial Interdictor Cruiser, yeah. There is the anti-magic stuff is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have a Holy Avenger, gets swallowed, and it's just a long sword. Yep.
Solid.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. 100%. All right, what's this thing? Fear. F-E-Y-R, pronounced fear, is a tentacled horror that feeds quietly on strong emotions. To minimize the chance of harm to itself, it prefers to devour the nightmares of other creatures while they sleep. Fears shun bright light but aren't harmed by it. Consequently, they are as much at home in the void of wild space as they are in dark alleys and dungeons. A fear that comes across a spell-jamming ship tries to enter the ship's air envelope and stow away, remaining secluded and invisible until it finds a sleeping victim it can attack. It retreats rather than allows itself to perish in a confrontation. Ugh. So it's a large aberration. Let's see, it can't be frightened, obviously. It's called fear. It doesn't require air. It does 1 frightful bite and 1 tentacle in a round. Let's see what the bite does. So, when it attacks each creature within 10 feet of the fear that can see it must succeed on a DC 13 wisdom saving throw or be frightened by the fear until the end of the fear's next turn. That's fucked up. So anyone that it hits, everyone else gets terrified by it. That's great. Tentacle hit. It does psychic damage. and the target is grappled. Until the grapple ends, the fear can't use the tentacle again. It has 2 tentacles, each of which can grapple 1 creature. Okay. It has invisibility. The fear becomes invisible until it attacks, uses nightmare fuel, or uses a bonus action to become visible. And that's just an action that it can use. It just runs away and becomes invisible. Absolutely. Nightmare fuel. Once per day, the fear targets 1 unconscious creature it can see within 10 feet of itself. The target must succeed on a DC 13 wisdom saving throw or take 5d10 psychic damage, and the fear gains temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt. Yeah.
So if someone's knocked unconscious because they're down to 0 hit points, what does 27 is like one attack just one death save like failed? Or how does that work? Is there a threshold?
So it's technically if you attack someone that's unconscious and is rolling death saves, it's an automatic fail.
Yep.
But if you crit, it's an automatic 2 fails.
Sure. But so that's regardless of the damage.
Well, it would also be, I think, if you get down to twice, or if you get down to negative hit points equal to your hit points.
Oh, okay. That's a thing too. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a thing. We don't roll.
Sure.
With that.
I was just curious because I was like unconscious. The first thing I thought of was someone going down to 0 hit points, not asleep.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It likes to be invisible on the ship, and nobody notices it, sort of stowing away under the wing or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when somebody goes to sleep, they sneak into the cabin, and essentially, for the vast majority of creatures that you find out in the Astral Sea, because most creatures have maybe 1 level in a class, right? Which means none of them would survive.
If that.
Yeah. So it's straight up would just kill that creature. And the thing is, you would just find the creature. I imagine that you would find the creature dead in their bed with a look of horror on their face. It would absolutely be like The Ring. That's what would be going on there. But yeah, no, this thing could take out an entire crew over the course of a couple days.
Yeah. Unless someone has the ability to sense it or it slips up somehow. But yeah, that's...
Well, I mean, eventually, once a couple of people die in their sleep, probably you're going to start looking for something, for a reason.
You're going to be
all right, let's look at this thing, a Gaj. Gaj are hideous hunters that prey on other intelligent life forms. They crawl on 6 insectile legs and attack with their mandibles. They ambush prey by burying themselves under sand or silt and lying in wait, lurking in dark caves or perching on natural stone ledges where they blend in with their surroundings. Gaj have no language, but they have the magical ability to understand the speech of other creatures. A Gaj's head is a spongy globe about 2 feet in diameter, with 3 feathery antennae protruding from the top. Spaced around the head are 6 compound eyes, and 6 finger-like appendages hang over its mouth. A Gaj can try to read the thoughts of another intelligence creature by wrapping its antenna around the creature's head. Regardless of whether the attempt succeeds, the mental probe is painful and takes a toll on the victim's well-being. Oh, it's large. Ooh, it's a large creature. All right, gross.
Yeah, no.
It's got dark vision. It understands all languages. That's cool. Multi-attack, it uses mind-probing antenna or paralyze. Uses 1 mandible attack and uses mind-probing antennalize or paralyze if available. All right. So its mandibles do slashing damage, and the target is grappled.
Okay.
So that's fabulous. So now you're stuck there. Now you get some antenna action. The Gaj targets one with mind-probing antennae. The Gaj targets 1 creature grappled by it. The target must make a DC 12 Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 16 psychic damage, and the Gaj magically pulls 1 piece of information from the target's mind that the Gaj wants to know. On a successful save, the target takes half as much, and the Gaj learns nothing. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And it can paralyze. The Gaj magically targets 1 creature it can see within 60 feet. The target must succeed on a DC 12 Wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So this thing. Oh my god! So this thing like can lie in wait, like hiding itself, and wait until it paralyzes someone to stop hiding.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy, and it's only CR4.
Yeah, I think that's only because the saves aren't super high and the damage isn't super high.
Yeah.
But if you pump those numbers up, this thing would be like just the skills it has is so terrifying.
Yeah, that's super crazy. Oh my gosh. No, but that's fun. I might be playing with those. All right, so we're going to skip over the other races because we covered those. And let's look at a Jammer Leech. I'm very excited about that. Build a scary horror ship that's full of aberrations.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like the fear, absolutely. Like that should be a thing that you can like have in your dungeon. Like you turn one of your cabins into like the brig, and the fear's just in there, invisible, and waits until the thing falls asleep, and then just gives it like nightmares. Absolutely.
Or just kills it outright.
And it never knows. Well, I think it would be better if you want to like screw with someone. You give it horrific nightmares every night, doing massive. It wakes up totally damaged, and it never knows what's happening. Like that would be terrifying. I feel like there's. All right, let's see. Jammer leeches. A jammer leech is a barnacle-like creature that begins life as a space-dwelling spore that attaches to the hull of a spell-jamming ship. With the leech inside in larval form, a spore that remains attached to a ship for a few days punctures the hull and begins to develop a hard shell that roughly matches the color of the hull. The shell is affixed to the ship by a glue-like substance secreted by the leech. The shell grows until it's about 1 foot in diameter. The leech inside is reddish-purple in color with a body resembling that of a snail. It has a single watery eye at one end and a spiked tentacle protruding from just below the eye, which it uses to defend itself. A mated pair of leeches produces 1d6 spores every month. Some of these spores might join their parents on the hull of the ship, while others float off, waiting to attach themselves to another unwary vessel. A jammer leech damages the hull of a ship to which it is attached and absorbs magic from the ship's spelljamming helm. It can discharge this magic from time to time as a defensive measure. If the crew of a ship becomes aware of leeches that have become attached, it's customary for them to try to scrape the leeches off the hull rather than attack them with weapons. Killing a leech while it is attached to the ship is dangerous because the trauma of its death can be felt by the ship's spelljammer, who is weakened and incapacitated by the shock. So you can only do this while they're in port. All right. Or you have to like stop the ship to scrape the barnacles off. Gross. All right, so it is, let's see, Spelljammer Overload. What is this thing? If the leech is reduced to 0 hit points while attached to the ship that has a spelljamming helm, the creature attuned to that helm must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 10 psychic damage and is incapacitated for a minute. On a successful save, it takes half damage and is incapacitated until the end of its next turn. So the leeches do not require air or sleep. Spiked Tentacle does like very little damage. That doesn't have any reach.
Yeah.
But as a bonus action, it can attach to the hull, and it deals 2 piercing damage to the ship. This damage can't be repaired until the leech is scraped off the hull. While the leech is attached, its speed is 0 and can detach itself as a bonus action. As an action, a creature within reach of the leech can try to scrape it off the hull, doing so with a successful DC 18 strength check. On a failed check, the action is wasted as the leech remains attached to the hull. Removing the leech does not do any damage to the leech or the ship. And once per day, it can do a magical discharge. When it takes damage, the leech can discharge a bolt of magical energy from its eye that targets one creature it can see within 30 feet. The target must succeed on a DC 13 dexterity saving throw or take 10 force damage and be stunned until the end of its next turn. So this is dangerous to scrape these things.
That's why you don't attack it, because it can only magically charge you if you give it damage.
Oh my god. This would be, but I feel like this would absolutely be a fabulous weapon that you could that you could do, like have like a sack of leeches that you
Oh,
just launch at another spell
oh,
jamming ship.
I thought you were doing a person. I'm like, oh god, no,
Yeah,
no,
I mean, or in a person.
oh no,
Absolutely.
no, no.
I think that's fun. Like there's I feel like that would absolutely be like something that you could do. Like we could create like a magical weapon that is like it just looks like a stand, and what it is, you see like an orb above it that is a telekinetic sphere that can just be launched at another ship, and the sphere can be full of whatever you want it to, right? But you have to have things like down in the hold to fill the sphere with. So you can fill it with like burning oil if you want to, or you can fill it with leeches, or you can fill it with a monster or something, and it'll just keep it in stasis. And then you launch it at another spell jamming ship. And the telekinetic sphere, it doesn't do any damage to the ship. The telekinetic sphere just disappears once
Yeah.
it's out of range, and like but then suddenly the other ship is covered in fiery oil or in leeches, doing damage to its ship constantly. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
We've got our first weapon that we're going to include. All right. Ooh, space whales! We get space whales!
Oh,
Yay!
yay!
I
Finally,
love
something
it.
that's
That makes
kind
me
of
happy.
nice and not disgusting and awful.
Yeah. So Kindori are among the largest creatures found in wild space. They resemble aquatic whales in general shape and are mammals as well. An adult specimen can be up to 80 feet long. A Kindori lacks a noticeable mouth. The leading edge of its body is dotted with small eyes that can emit bright beams of light, which the creature uses to blind predators before making its escape. Kindori communicate with one another over long distances by sending flashes of light from their eyes and draw their nourishment from the light of suns and stars. A Kindori is large enough to have its own gravity plane and air envelope, enabling smaller creatures to live and travel on its body. Mosses, molds, and other parasitic organisms grow on its surface, which in turn attack predators to clean them off. A Kindori might have scabbers feeding on these parasites, which it doesn't mind. An extremely old or sick Kindori might be identified by an overgrowth of vines and vegetation on it. The bones and cartilage of a dead Kindori do not deteriorate after the parasites devour the creature's flesh. A Kindori skeleton can be transformed into a spell jamming ship by placing a spell jamming helm inside it. Kindori are peaceful creatures, but have many natural enemies, including lunar dragons, solar dragons, and various peoples that inhabit wild space. We definitely have like a shoal of Kindori
A
somewhere
shoal?
in our crystal sphere.
Is that the name of like a
That's what
group?
a school of fish is called, a shoal.
Oh, okay.
SHOAL.
Okay.
There is, yeah. So, or we can just call it a school. That is absolutely like there is that, and our Kindori are going to be different because they are basking in the light of wisdom. That is what they like.
Yeah.
I feel like they absolutely will like when you ask them questions, they will like paint pictures of light with their eyes to show you
Oh,
like prophecy,
yeah.
things like that. Absolutely, 100%. Um, I love it. They can do some damage with their tail, but it looks like they just don't want to. They just blind creatures and say bite,
Like,
bite.
we're gone.
Let's see. We've got some dragons. Lunar
Ooh.
dragons, also known as moon dragons or phase dragons. Absolute. Absolute. Are capricious, xenophobic creatures that make their lairs inside desolate moons by burrowing through the rock. Before laying eggs, a female lunar dragon stocks her lair with food. She won't leave the lair again until the eggs hatch and the offspring are old enough to fend for themselves. Lunar dragon eggs have stony shells that are pale white to light gray in color. Lunar dragons are alabaster white when they hatch and gradually turn darker as they age. Ancient moon dragons are the color of slate. Okay. Lunar dragons enjoy depriving other creatures of treasure more than acquiring the treasure to themselves. So these are
Just
they create Karen dragons. It's just straight up, these are the Karen dragons.
No.
Like, no, monsters. Often found among the treasures in the Lunar Dragon's hoard are one or more spelljamming helms, taken from vessels that dared to invade the dragon's territory. A lunar dragon can become incorporeal, but not to the extent that it can pass through other creatures or solid objects. In this semi-incorporeal state, roughly half the dragon's body has a dark and distinct spectral form. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So they've got their legendary resistances. They are a tunneler, so they can move through solid rock. It doesn't require air. It's got multi-attack, so it's got a bite and 2 claw attacks, which are piercing and cold damage. Okay, cold that's unusual. We don't see a lot of cold damage. The claw is just slashing damage. The tail is bludgeoning damage, and it's got a cold breath. So it does not too much damage, 36 damage, but your speed is reduced to 0 until the end of your next turn.
Oh, dang.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it can phase 3 times a day. It becomes partially incorporeal as long as it maintains concentration on the effect. While it's partially incorporeal, the dragon has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. It's also immune to cold damage. And for legendary actions, it can make 1 tail attack. Treacherous ice, what is this? Magical ice covers the ground in a 20-foot radius centered on the point the dragon can see within 120 feet of itself. The ice, which is difficult terrain for all creatures except lunar dragons, lasts for 10 minutes, or until the dragon uses its legendary action again. Okay. And it can do a wing attack, which does a little bit of damage, but knocks people prone. And then the dragon can fly up to half its speed without provoking opportunity attacks. That's very rude. This is a rude dragon. Let's look at its lair. A cave complex where a lunar dragon makes its lair contains ample space for food, as well as 1 or more hidden chambers where the dragon keeps its treasure. Depending on the composition and features of the moon, the lair might contain natural springs and heat vents with wild gardens, crystal formations, magical phenomena, or an ecosystem of lesser life forms that have adapted to living with the dragon. The region containing an ancient or adult lunar dragon's lair is worked by the dragon's magic, which produces 1 or more of the following effect. Black frost. A thin layer of black frost covers the ground, which kills all ordinary plants growing within 6 miles. Okay, haunting moan. A moaning sound gets louder or fainter the closer the one gets to the lair. The moan is audible 6 miles from the lair if the dragon is ancient, or 3 miles as an adult. Moon devils. Swirling funnels of dust and frost known as moon devils crisscross the area and intercept creatures they encounter. A moon devil is a free-willed air elemental that deals cold damage instead of its bludgeoning damage. If the dragon dies, the moaning stops, the moon devils dissipate, the black frost disappears over the course of 1 to 10 days. So it just gets air elementals to defend itself, to defend its land. Like just cause it kills all the plants. Air elementals, gross. Gross, you're gross. What's this? So that was an ancient lunar dragon. Just an adult lunar dragon, what does it get? It's pretty much the same, but it misses its flyby attack and only has 2 of the legendary resistances.
They don't have flyby?
Not flyby, it's ancient.
The wing attack.
It's legendary action, wing attack.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's basically just the stat is down.
Yeah, this is not okay. This is not okay. There is I think I'm going to say we've got so much left to go. We've gotten about halfway through. What I'm going to say is, why don't we actually finish this up on Friday morning? We were planning on doing a rerun of one of our Magnificent Mythologies, but instead what we'll do is we will finish this on Friday morning. So come back Friday, 11 a.m., and we will finish out the fabulous things that we are learning about the astral sea. That is super delightful. And for now, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the fabulous raids, Sensei and Dead Awesome Gamer. That is awesome. And we will see you on Friday morning as we do fun stuff. And for now, we're actually going to go raid into one of our stream team members, Mendari. So let's go see some fabulous world building over on Mendari's channel. Hopefully she's using some fun things from the Astral Sea. And we will see you on Friday morning.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Mwah.
Take care.